Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. It is time to get started with Unit 4. And this week's assignment is a fun one. At least it is for me, because I get to do something other than read paragraphs, which is kind of exciting. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's happening this week and go over the week's assignments. All right, so Unit 4's theme is inspiration. And as you can see, we also will be thinking about goal setting throughout this particular week. So this week, you're going to be participating in a discussion board and completing a writing assignment. Although instead of having to write, you're actually going to be working with visuals this week. So, first, before you do anything else, naturally, make sure that you go into the readings and resources and that you really take a look at those first because they're going to help you when it comes time to complete the assignments. So this week's chapter from Johnson is on keeping it simple. One of the things that I think is really interesting about academic writing is that a lot of people and I understand why, but a lot of people believe that, academic writing is like super intense and super complicated and all of these things. And in reality, good communication is typically very simple. Doesn't matter what kind of communication it is, including academic communication. Typically, we want to keep it simple. This is how we get clear messages across to people. We've all read or watched messages that were not simple and know how hard that can be to actually navigate and figure out. So, Chapter 8's on keeping it simple, and I think it's a great one. We also are going to be learning more about visuals because we are using visuals this week. So, one of the things that's interesting about writing for college is that much of the time you're just using words, right? If you're writing a paper, you're using words. We don't use visuals as much as we might in the normal everyday world. Um, so we are going to be practicing that this week. Gamel's chapter is on learning vital reading strategies, and chapter 7 specifically talks about creating visuals to enhance comprehension and recall. We also have a chapter on goal setting and the power of commitment by Greshes. That's going to help with your assignment this week as well. In the Greshes text, excuse me, we have three additional chapters, 2 through 4, why they don't do it, the 5 levels of success, and the 5-step process. Goal setting. There's a lot of really good material out there about goal setting, including the theory that we call SMART goals, how to set SMART goals. So you have a video about that as well. You have a video about prioritizing and more on growth mindset, which we have looked at before. So take a look at the readings and resources. It's a lot of videos, I know, but do the readings, do the videos, and that will help prepare you for the written and visual assignments that are coming. So the goal, future goals is the theme for the discussion board this week. And remember, when you post on your discussion board, you want to write at least a good solid paragraph. In this particular discussion board, there's really two parts, and most people miss this first part. So I'm really going to highlight this. When you post your own response this week, the first thing you want to do is share one or two of your own personal goals with the class and explain the steps you plan to take to accomplish them. Then, and I know it says initial response below that, which is annoying. I have asked to get this one changed for a while. It's going to eventually get changed, but anyway, so do share a goal or two and the steps that you plan to take first, and then you're going to answer the questions. How will a growth mindset help you achieve your goals? And what is one thing you learned from your lessons this week that has helped you to set your goals or to create your plan? So please do not ignore the first part, and then you can answer the two questions. So it's about goal setting and it's about your own plan. to achieve whatever goals. So kind of related to what we wrote about when we looked at that sample student paragraph. But in this case, we're also going to be focusing on the steps you're going to take as well as growth mindset. Okay. Then we have the assignment. So instead of a paper this week, instead of a paragraph, you're going to be creating a vision board. And we're going to use PowerPoint as the tool for this. There are many tools that you could use. If you want to use something else, you're welcome to, but you have access to PowerPoint in the Office 365 materials that we've already looked at before. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you not only use PowerPoint, but that you use the template that's provided. The reason I say that is because the spots are already there and it already tells you exactly what you need to do. So before we look at the template though, let's look at the assignment sheet with the rubric. Last week, of course, your assignment was to learn more about rubrics. So you will see a new one on this assignment sheet. You will also notice that this one is very, very simple. The requirements are that you include 3 images that reflect a future goal. The other requirements are that you have 2 quotations that reflect your future goal. Now, quotations are things that someone else has said. This is not just you saying I want to be a doctor or whatever the case may be. And we're going to look at how to find some quotes from other people to include here. So if you do all of those 5 things, if you have 3 visuals and 2 direct quotes with the people named, you will get all 100 points on this assignment. And that is it. That is literally the assignment. 3 visuals and 2 quotes. Okay. Now, the template has spots for all of those, which is why I think in this particular case, especially, it is important to utilize the template. So it's going to take a second. I'm going to open this and then I'm going to have to share my PowerPoint screen as well. So hold on 1 second while I get that open. And let's share both windows. Okay, so now we have opened the template. As I mentioned, this template is in PowerPoint. It is not in Microsoft Word, but just like Word, PowerPoint is part of the Office 365 that you can utilize when you are a student at Post University. So if you need some extra help with it, please let me know. But I have some instructional things that I've posted before on how to utilize the Office 365 suite. So you can open this, you can save it on your computer, and then you can open it in the Office 365. So you'll notice there are 3 slides for this presentation. Now, only slide 2, this is your vision board. This one slide is your vision board. The first one reminds you of all the requirements of the assignment. The third one gives you photo examples that you can use. So you don't have to go find a bunch of photos on your own if you don't want to. You could use all 3 of the ones you choose could be from this slide. That's absolutely fine. But you're going to include 3 photos and you're going to include the 2 quotes. Now, the 2 quotes you will have to go elsewhere to find, and we'll talk about that in a second. So let's say you want to use one of these. I'm going to use this one. I have copied it so you can use the copy feature. Now I'm going to go to the second slide. And to get ready, I'm also going to let's put our name in. And we've got titles for the photos. I'm going to put the house one here, quiet home. And I'm going to paste that photo on the box. Now, it's a little bigger than the box, so I'm going to shrink it down a little bit and make it fit. It doesn't have to fit exactly, but I'm a bit of a perfectionist sometimes, so I want it to cover the box. So we're going to make it a little bit bigger there and a little bit bigger there. Okay. So this might be my retirement home in the countryside with some nice sunset. So that's a future goal is to retire and live in a quiet home. All right. You also can go online to find photos. In PowerPoint, you have the ability to use the insert menu, and then under pictures, you want to choose what's called stock images. The instructions for this are also in the assignment sheet. So if you forget, you can watch the video again, but you also can read the instructions if that works better for you. So we can search the stock images. Let's see, what might I have a goal? Oh, I know one goal I have. Um, we have a dog. Uh-oh, they don't have a golden retriever dog. That's really weird. How about just puppies then? Okay, so here's some puppies. Uh, well, there's a golden retriever right there. I have a dog named Indiana Skywalker Jones. He is a golden retriever and he is the sweetest puppo. And I want to have more golden retrievers as I get older and go into retirement. So I'm gonna pick this photo, and all you have to do then is hit insert and it will put it on the slide. Now, again, this is a big picture, so I'm going to make it much smaller and I'm going to put it, oh, let's put it in this one. And let's put more Goldens as a future goal. Okay, just a quick little summary of what your goal is. Then we have one more photo that we need to add. You can use photos that you yourself have taken. So if you have photos on your computer or on your phone and you go into the insert menu, you can browse the photo browser. You can also choose a picture from your files. So I'm going to choose a photo from file, and I've got a lot of images saved. One of my goals for 2026 involves running. So I'm just going to pick one of these running photos. Let's choose this one. I look very, very serious in this photo, but that's okay. We're going to, oh, not there. We're going to put it here. I have to size it. Okay, I'm not going to make it wider because then I look wider. So we're just going to make that little. And then in January, or actually February 1st, a half marathon in 2026. Now, one reason I made that a little bit longer than it needed to be is because I wanted to show you that if you do have a long goal statement, you can make this a little smaller by shrinking it, or you can move, expand the line so that it fits. Okay. We're going to do the same thing with the text for the quotes because typically when we copy and paste, it's not going to be the right size. Okay. So those are my three visuals. Done. All right. Let's go back to the internet. I don't know why this thing is so big. Okay. Go back to the internet and to we're going to go to images.google.com. Okay. Google Images, there's a lot of image sites, but Google Images is a good one if you want to. Oh, actually, we don't need an image, but you can search Google Images if you want to get images from somewhere else other than the stock photos. Like I could put, if I really wanted to dig into my golden retriever puppies, I could look for, here's a nice image that I might use instead of the single dog that's on that other one. But anyway, so that's how you would find it. If you are copying a visual off the internet, you just copy and paste it. Easy enough. Okay, so what I was going to come on here for, though, was not images. I was going to show you how to search for quotes. So the best way that I know is to put in something about inspirational quotes. You notice I have running quotes as one of my kind of presets that I use a lot, and also travel quotes. Let's choose the travel one because we haven't done anything with that. Um, and let's go to the Pioneer Woman. That sounds fun. I like her cooking show, so maybe she has some good quotes. So we have all kinds of quotes, and some of them are already in visual pictures. You don't have to utilize that. You can just use the quote itself. Here's a good one. Hans Christian Andersen, to travel is to live. So I'm going to use this one. I'm going to put this in my text box right here. And you'll notice that it does fit. So this one actually does fit. So I don't have to really do anything to this one. Many of them are going to be too large, or they're going to be really small. The other thing is typically we don't have the author first. We have the author after the quote. So let me move that. You can adjust it however you need to. And let's get one more quote. Let's just do inspirational quotes in general. Lots of websites for these. Best inspirational quotes. That sounds like a good one. Um, Here's a bunch of them. And again, you could use it in visual form, or you can copy, just the text. I want to use one that's kind of long, so I'm going to pick this Jamie Foxx quote so that I can show you if we need to how to fit it in. All right, so type the text here, just paste it in. Yep, there's a good example. So this is too big for the box. I can do a lot of different things with it. One of the things that I can do is unbold it. That may solve yeah, that solves the whole problem. But you can make text larger or smaller. You can expand the box. You can move the box around. So here's a good example. So this is now my vision board. If you want, you can then delete the first and the third um, pages because you don't need them anymore. I'm going to delete them because it does make it a smaller file size. Anytime you have photos, your file size starts to get pretty big. So if you're trying to do this from a laptop or from a tablet or a phone, sometimes the file size is a problem. So I'm going to save this. We're going to call this JP Vision Board Term 3, 2020. Oops, 2025. Almost. And we're just going to put this in my documents. All right. So, just like a Word document, when you are ready to submit this, we're going to go back to the course, and we're going to go click on the assignment link. And as usual, this cannot be a create submission. It shouldn't be a create submission. Although I think if you do create submission, no, it doesn't take you to where you can use PowerPoint. So do not use create submission. Do upload files. And then if you have it in your cloud service, you can do this. I, of course, just put it on the computer. So I'm going to browse the local files, and my PowerPoint is the very first one. So double click that, agree to submit. Now, one of the things that you'll notice when you use a PowerPoint as opposed to a Word document is you will not see the preview right away. It will take longer than normal because it's got all those images in it. So it is big. But if you're seeing this screen, then you have submitted it and you are ready to exit. You don't have to worry about, keeping an eye on it. It will continue to load and it will complete your loading. Okay. This one is a little technically difficult, so if you need extra help with it, do let me know. I will post some additional things that might help in the announcements this week, but it's a fun one. Enjoy it, have a good time with it, and as usual, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Everybody take care. Have a great week 4.